Hi friends, thank you for joining me for another pick a card. This time we are going to explore a little bit about what people say, what sweet things people say behind our backs. That was really hard to get out. So if you are joining me for the first time, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. And if you are a repeat offender, of course, thank you, and welcome. So without further ado, we're going to get in it, aren't we? So let's clear the space here. And we're going to start with clip number 1. We're going to call it, for the sake of normalism, pile number 1. So if you chose pile number 1, this is your reading. So what sweet things are said about you behind your back, pile number 1? I just feel like we needed to get gassed up a little bit to, just to really feel a little bit of that encouragement. And that's what led me to this reading. So here we go, pile number 1. What is it that we really talk about that's sweet behind their backs? What is it that we really can't say to their faces? What is it that we like and admire? Let's find out. 6 of Inspiration. Woo woo. Who doesn't love the 6 of Wands, in other words, right? Let's see if I can get this to not glare as bad. Not sure if that'll stay. Of course not. So I've got a new little setup here, and I'm still, as per usual, trying to figure myself out. But in the meantime, we're going to roll with it. So I want you to notice just how beautiful she is. So I think that people really notice, like, first of all, how poised you are, how you adhere to your dream, whether you have one specific dream or whether you have just one goal that people know about. I feel like we watch you and we notice that. We notice your dedication, your mindset, how sometimes you could even feel removed. Like even if you're within the room, the same room as we are, you're almost like otherworldly and connected with something almost like to the stars that we can't even touch. It's very otherworldly. It's very attractive. Now, let me do a disclaimer. Very attractive, not like my nails, okay? So if you guys are here to watch really pretty hands with beautiful nails, this is not your channel. For the rest of you, you could stay here, right? And so I want to say that for pile number 1, you guys are really known for going after your dreams, your goals. And I feel like even you have almost like a spotlight on you, no matter what, whether you're on a public platform, whether you have a YouTube channel, whether you have a TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be. Any of those platforms are definitely addressed here as well. Now, for some of you also, I feel like some of you, might be 1 or 2 of you, might actually be pregnant and be in the spotlight, talking about your pregnancy, doing workouts about pregnancy workouts, or having difficult talks about what it is like to be pregnant and undergo through, I don't know, hardships of having a baby during quarantine or during the status quo of our world today. So whatever the case may be, you have a lot of supporters. Like, we look at you and we're like, oh my goodness, this is pile number 1. I can't get over them. Every time I turn around, I think about them. They pop into my mind. You could have really beautiful skin, really beautiful long hair, or if not, it's just super shiny and attractive and we just want to stare at it. And you could be really also sort of trying to kind of be self-protective, almost like, this is my dream. Nobody mess with my dream. It's close to my heart. And when I think about that, I get like, oh, that is so sweet. And if you only knew how precious you are to us when you walk by, when we see you online, when we think about you, you've influenced so many of us. And so I just want to thank you for just being you. And I want to encourage you. I feel like there is an air of mystery about you, and you do you. Of course, you're going to have to protect yourself as you see fit. But I'm going to say that really we adore you. I mean, you cannot get a better card, in my opinion, than the Ace of Inspiration. it just kind of blows my mind. The Six of Inspiration, I'm sorry. So just being, like the Six of Wands, you could have also people that like celebrate you that have been through it as well. So if that is part of you following your solar plexus, because that is also indicated, people see that you're following your desires, your excitement. You're not here to try to be perfect or anything. I feel like people understand that what you're bringing to the world, what's being illuminated. I heard ring light as well. So any of those things is going to be really special and different. And I feel like there's a purity and a joy to it and a genuineness about it. Okay. It's not like you're trying to copycat and be like, influencers to do your skincare just because other people are doing it. You think it's going to attract money. No, you're different. You have a cause that might be really rare, but incredibly beautiful and graceful to see. I can't even believe I've been talking for 5 minutes about one card, but I want to share it with you also. This Eight of Materials. Okay. So what we notice about you that we don't tell you to your face, pile number one, we notice your hard work. We see you. Okay. So I want to acknowledge you right now. If no one has said anything, oh my goodness, I'm like talking with no microphone. Gasp. Okay. Give me one moment, please. So if working hard, burning the midnight oil, and I feel like maybe in secret, like you're not really telling other people what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're seeing. Well, we notice that. We know that you're doing something, okay, that you're not necessarily totally being upfront with, and that is of no consequence because we sense it, we feel it, we know it, okay? Now, I want to just show you, I mean, look, she has a star on her head here. This is what makes you shine, and you're in your element, and that's why you're so attractive. So it's nothing like you putting on clothing, you putting on perfume, you putting on makeup. If you're a girl or even a guy, I don't judge. It doesn't make a difference. It's just you and your essence. Being within your essence and being authentic to that essence, okay, is super attractive. So we're definitely attracted to you. We're definitely looking to you going, wow. I mean, like when pile number one, you guys walk by or we think about you, we get excited. I heard fuzzy wuzzy. I don't know what that means. Maybe people get the butterflies. Also notice the bloom on her head. So this Eight of Materials, this is like what is constantly on your mind. How can I make this grow? How could I evolve it? And it could be something really different, but whatever it is near and dear to you, whether it's teaching music to the disabled or a small demographic or preschoolers, whatever the case, or even seniors or adults, whatever the case may be, whatever you have taken on, I don't want to say it consumes you, but you work really hard to make this happen. And the way that you do it is in a different way. It is so graceful. People look at you and think, how in the world do you have the time, the energy, the emotion, the gumption, the confidence to accomplish all the things that you set out to do? How is it that you're working so hard? What is it that wakes you up in the morning, and what in the heck is driving you? I want some of that, pile number one. Now look at all these blooms. We notice when we look at you that when your hand touches something, meaning if you're going to school, if you have one job, if you have two jobs, if you got three jobs, I feel like more of an entrepreneurship with you. I'm going to say that we notice that you're making some money, that things are blooming, that you are a great creator, that you listen to spirit, and it seems like you get downloads and you can bring this into existence in a way that the rest of us cannot. Okay, now I feel like the energy is definitely slowing down all of a sudden. Like I started out super hyper and now I feel like a sense of calming down, and so those messages are definitely for you. Like, we see your hard work and we whisper about you. I can't even believe how pile number one is working so hard. They are so intense. How is it that they're so inspired? How do they continue experiencing that mojo? How do they keep their momentum? How is it that they dress however it is that they see fit every time we see them? They are so different. And I'm fascinated by you and riveted by you. And we just we want to look. We can't stop staring, okay? You could have a really beautiful figure when you walk by. You know, I don't care if you're plus size, if you're tiny, if you're in between, it doesn't make a difference. All shapes and sizes are welcome on my forum. And I just want body positivity. So I want to tell you as a reader that no matter what you're wearing, if we could see, no shape, or if we could see your shape. We don't care. We're still looking. We're looking because we think that you are beautiful. And that's another message for you guys. Woo! What else do we notice? What else do we say behind pile number one's back? The sweet things that we say. What is it that we are saying about pile number one? Let's find out. Woo! What? Okay, look, you saw me mix the cards. I'm not even making this up. Check this out. You have got the sun. You know, darling, you hung the star and the moon, and you turn on the sun. What else can I say? I feel like you do the impossible. You make everybody a student around you. You make everybody see and understand that regardless of the age, regardless of your position in life, you can still work, you can evolve, you can recreate yourself and reinvent. And not only that, invent beautifully and gracefully. So I feel like you make a pupil of us all. And I really appreciate that about you. Another thing that we talk about is just your disposition. I feel like even though you may have some really tough times, like juggling and doing a lot of different projects and trying to be really focused, you really bring a warmth, excuse me, into the room that other people do not have. Let me grab a drink here. Most of you guys know, if you've been to this channel before, I am not a fast talker at all. So this is purely your energy. Okay. I'm going to say that you are going to start speaking more your truth. And the more you open your mouth, the more you have us looking in awe. Like, I can't believe they said that. Excuse me. I can't believe, maybe you had a throat chakra blockage before, and it's only now that you're really coming into your own or willing to share what it is that you have to say. But we're frankly amazed at the things that you have to share, and the topics that you bring up, at the skill and the beauty that you bring it up with. Okay, so you're speaking your truth. I think that you're on point, and people really look at that favorably. Now, if you look, this little girl has a little toy horse here. I feel like you are almost like iconic. We don't say, oh, pile number one's iconic, but we revere you like that. We look at you like, what is pile number one doing? Because they're just so different. You have like Lady Gaga vibes crossed with like Johnny Cash. I don't even know what's going on here. But you are definitely iconic. I think a rule breaker. You don't even see rules anymore. I think you've thrown those out the window. I think that's dissipated with all of these clouds kind of getting minimized and pushed away due to the sun. Okay, so you could be a Leo, an Aries, a Sag. I don't know what your sign is. But again, returning to that little horse, I feel like you make us look in awe and wonder and think, wow, I can have freedom too. So maybe something about who you are, your projects, really enables us to free up our minds, free ourselves out of the matrix, out of what keeps us stuck in our singularity, and helping us to feel like we're not tied down, that things are possible regardless of circumstances. Okay, there is a reference here to scholastic events. I think just personally what I'm feeling is training, how we've been trained to be raised as women, as men, your gender roles, your societal roles, your skin tone roles. I mean, that's not even a thing, but you know what I'm saying. So if you're like indigenous, or if you're, I don't know, any other, if you're Latino, if you're white, if you're from Spain, if you're from India or England, it doesn't make a difference. Like, you kind of were conditioned in proportion and allotted for a certain role. And I think that you're kind of getting disillusioned with that. And I think you've been maybe in a brain fog, and you have had such a breakthrough because you're following your passion, that what we see about you is that you are breaking all the rules to bring back the sunshine, to bring back the enthusiasm, to bring back the ability to speak your truth. I think that a lot of us feel oppressed, repressed, suppressed, whatever you want to call it. And we are finding freedom in you. And so you're an inspiration. If no one has told you, I'm telling you right now, pile number one, thank you for being you. Thank you for helping bring out the sunshine again, for allowing us to see that it is possible to have some freedom and a voice in life. and growth and peace and prosperity. So you have a lot of fans. A lot of people talk about you in a good way, in a positive light. A lot of people see the things that you are doing. They might not understand it because you're under a little bit of a cloak of secrecy, hiding a little bit of what is near and dear to your heart. Maybe not being fully divulging of your projects and your entrepreneurship and things that you're building. But make no mistake, it is a huge, huge impact on the world and on us as well. So you keep shining, and I thank you so much for being part of this reading. If you do like my style of reading, please do give me a like, smash that button, like, share, comment, subscribe. Do leave me a little note or a message on what pile you were. And also, if you are interested in like different kinds of readings, different topics, please do let me know. I'm very creative and I love to kind of delve in there and challenge myself and give to you better content. So with that, I will let you go. Much love to you. Thank you, and namaste. Hi, pile number 2. Thank you for joining me. And without further ado, here we go. We are exploring what it is that are the sweet things that are said behind your back. Things that we won't say to your face, things that we think about, things that we tell ourselves about you, sweet things. So, for pile number 2, what sweet things do we have to say about you? Let's find out. The Knight of Emotion. Woohoo! The Knight of Emotion. So that brings about a lot of calmness, a peace. I feel like you bring people peace. I think that people whisper and talk about how calming you are, how engaging you are, how free you are in a lot of aspects. I think that this horse is, it looks like he's submerged underwater or has connection with water, because he is, of course, represented by the knight. But I feel like you could be around maybe a sea of people that are maybe feeling emotional. And I think that you are really known for having a higher calling, a higher vibration, a more peaceful vibration. We whisper about you, we wonder, does that, pile number 2, do you meditate? Like, what is with you? What's so special about you that you keep your autonomy, your equanimity, your balance, your sense of self, your fierceness, your beauty? What is it about you that keeps all of these things going, engaged? Somebody said enraged. I don't feel like that is accurate, but we'll find out. What is it that you're listening to? Because I feel and we think and we talk about how you seem so different, so free. You're not entrapped any longer, I heard, by the things that bind the rest of us. Keeping up with the Joneses, looking like everyone else, having the cookie cutter life, meeting the status quo. You are unhampered by these things. And while the rest of us seem to drown in a lot of emotion because we can't actually meet these things that are not good for our welfare, because it seems like a lot of us are fighting against how we are feeling, our most authentic, highest self. We look at you and we wonder, how do you get the bravery? Because we think that you're really brave, and we talk about that. It's like, wow, did you see so-and-so? Like, they're not into the Dolce & Gabbana, and they're not into the Jimmy Choo shoes, and they're not into the Tom Ford glasses, and they don't do the Gucci purses or whatever is even hot right now, like I would know. But they're not into any of that. And what is it that they're listening to? Because I feel like you guys are really clairaudient, and so I feel like a lot of people don't understand, especially if they're not spiritually connected themselves. They know that you're almost like dancing to beat of your own drum, okay? And they whisper and they talk about, hey, did you see pile number 2? Like, they were all just in monochromatic clothing, but they're so otherworldly and so beautiful and so poised and so regal, and yet so free and willing to carry and do whatever it is that they want, that you seem almost like walking in different dimensions. Okay, so pile number 2, we feel like you stand out. There is a glow about you that isn't of this world. Like, this horse technically doesn't belong in the ocean, but here you are living your best life. And so we talk about that. We're like, wow, I can't even believe that you work here. Like, who are you? I think that you have star quality, star power. I think that you're very emotionally giving as well. But I do think that there's a part of you that has a lot of mystery, and what drives you is mysterious to us. And so we wonder, it's like, how does pile number two deal with being so positive, of moving so freely, of not thinking about, for example, any red tape or bureaucracy or limits? I feel like pile number two, if you guys work with people, whether it's behind the scenes or whether in person or online or whatever, people wonder, how is it that pile number two is doing all this stuff and they're kind of like unconventional, and yet your presence is so larger than life that it's juicy, it's riveting, and we can't stop watching. I do feel like you elicit some jealousy, and so we're not here to talk about the negative things that people are feeling about us, but I had to mention that. That's for someone. We really are fascinated again by the level of freedom that you have. Maybe even your boss gives you more leeway than they give other people, because you're really deeply trusted and because you perform. You are a show horse, and I don't mean that in the bad way. And I don't mean you're a one-trick pony either. That is not you. All right, pile number two, you are definitely a show. You are like regal, like royalty. So when you walk in, when you do anything, when you do a presentation, when you walk in, when you do your job, when you try to help somebody, whatever the case may be, whether you're a painter, an organizer, whatever, you do it with all the bells and whistles to keep people riveted. You keep us wanting more. And so what we look at and talk about, we think, wow, I mean, how strong is that person? That pile number two has overcome so much. Pile number two is just pure strength and beauty and so confident. Like, we look at you and we see that confidence, okay? So for pile number two, what do we have for you? Excuse me. So we have the Tower reversed. And so we see in a lot of ways that maybe you have, because usually it would be like this and everything's falling. And so maybe we see that you have the ability to rise from the rubble. Like this person, instead of the Tower being in the upright, this person is falling. Now you have this person jumping off. And it's like, again, a little bit of this vibration. Like, you know what? I may not belong here. I may not. Things may go wrong in my life. Major things. Maybe you went through divorce. Maybe you were let go of a job. Maybe you have had, excuse me. For some of you, I've heard deaths in the family. I heard, for one or two of you, maybe your business went under, whatever it was that you had. And if those are true, then I'm really sorry for you. But these are Tower moments, and we talk about how you have had it rough. We know that you've not had it easy, and yet here you are living your best life. You are free. You have launched yourself and freed yourself from these constraints that, you know what, if this doesn't work, it's going to crumble and wreck my life. No. You are your life, pile number two. And I think that you really help the rest of us understand and see that the more that we're around you. And we talk about that, like, how could pile number two have endured so much? And how is it that they appear so free? Well, you have a connection to your ancestors. And I think that this is a big secret. And it might even be a big secret to you that you're really divinely connected. You are getting messages from the divine. Now, a crystal I'm going to recommend for you is an ammonite. It's a fossil, I think, but it's incredibly beautiful. And I feel like an ammonite crystal would be really helpful for you to even connect more with your clairaudience, because that's going to help continue your elevation, your process, and your connection. It'll make it stronger. Okay. Now, some of you guys are electricians, work with electricity, like to buy things at garage sales, for example, old lightings, old lamps, things like that. And you'd like to rewire them and give them a new edgy look and things like that. So I think that's really cool. And we talk about that, and we feel a certain amount of electricity from you. Like, wow, you've overcome so much, and yet here you are. You are like the phoenix. You are unstoppable, baby. And we look at that, and we look at you, and we admire, and yeah, we talk about you. Don't kid yourself. What else do we talk about in secret? What sweet things are said behind your back? For pile number 2, let's find out. The Muse of Emotions. Now, I did not intend on doing this read in this way, but here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the Divine Book, okay? And this is from the Muse Tarot, which you probably already know about. And I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. So let's find this card. The Muse of Emotions. Alrighty. It's compassion, joy, the freedom to feel all the emotions as a way of self-discovery, transcendent states of bliss, meditation, inner calm, and knowing, being totally in touch with your desires and with a balance and peaceful emotions, avoiding moodiness. Wow. That's awesome. And so the prompt on this one says, rinsing the shadow. Come, tiny vessel of love, to the place where the water drops off and pours everything into the sweet shell of life. This message is of highest love, and it resides with all the bits and pieces of your anger and sadness or brood, and alchemized into beautiful experience of the soul, for they too are experiences to be cherished and learned from. Come meditatively, quietly, calmly. With everything you are, leave nothing behind, for you will need it all in this place of mindful understanding. Steer clear of manipulation and moodiness, and come into the night on the sweet waves of kindness, for those are the waves that will push you past your grip tide. They will float you to the same sandbanks of connection and invite you to explore your inner world with the gentlest of compassion. Your task is to simply be true to your heart and accept the nature of that which is, as the healing waters of pure love are headed your way. Attend awareness of perception, reaction, emotion, empathetic and true. Sensitive wisdom who crosses the sea, the subtle magic of now lies with you. And I feel like this card is really indicative of this Tower reverse. And this is almost like, things have fallen around me. Things have not gone quite right though I wanted them, the way I expected them to. I too have suffered losses just like everyone else, and still you rise, okay? And I love that for you. I feel like this is about taking all the bits and pieces with you and being free from things that just hinder, just understanding that you're not weighed down. You are not a house. If you lost your home, if you lost your job, if you lost relationships, you are not defined by those things. And I think that I'm learning to accept those things about yourself. And we see the powerful way that you move on from major things. So it's not just little things. Oh my goodness, you can't make this up. This one came out again. So I have the 6 of Wands for you. So we look at you, we admire, we notice things about you. We notice and we celebrate with you when you move on, when you grow from things, when you overcome things, okay? We celebrate your freedom. If you got out of a really bad relationship, situationship, complicationship, we celebrate that freedom with you. We celebrate when you feel that victory, even though you don't say, oh my gosh, I did this. And even if you do share it, we talk about it like, oh my goodness, did you notice so-and-so? I can't even believe it. And we're just like in awe, okay? I feel like some of you guys work with soldering, with like ring making, and what is that? Welding. I don't know why, but I get not just that. I'm getting these feelings and images. So I'm just going to say that really everything that you do does not go unnoticed, actually. Anytime that we can peek at you, whether it's privately or like in person, we want to peek at you. We want to look at you. We want a little bit more of you. And we do talk about that. I mean, who wouldn't? Pile number 2, we talk about how graceful you are and how strong you are and how in the moment you appear, and how you're willing to even the sad times. You live in the moment, and how you can even just live there and allow that to process and acknowledge it, but then you always move on, okay? You don't stay stuck for long. You acknowledge it, process it, and move. And you take with you your wounds, and that's okay. Those are life experiences. So I do hope that this resonated. That is what I have for my beautiful pile number 2. If you do like the style of reading, please do smash that like button, like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Do leave me a little note on what pile you were, just out of curiosity, and any notes about what you would like to see in the future. I would appreciate the ideas. So thank you so much, and namaste. Thank you for joining me, and this is for those of you that chose clip number 3. So clip number 3, this is for thee. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of sage going. And I want to thank you for those of you that are subscribers that have been here before. My repeat offenders, thank you so much for joining me. For the rest of you, a very warm welcome to my channel. And without further ado, let's get going here. For clip number 3, what are the sweet things that we say about thee? For clip number 3, pile number 3, what are the sweet things said about you behind your back? Let's find out. Ooh, okay. I'm going to say pile number 3, so you are definitely the kind that feels yourself. We talk about how sometimes, I'm just going to say, well, like, wow, she really, like, she feels herself. She's feeling herself, or he's feeling herself. I feel like the manner of your clothing, your mannerisms can really convey that you're present in your body, that you really enjoy your body. And sometimes it could be to an extent that it feels like you don't need anyone else. And those are just perceptions. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be the truth about who you are. This is simply what people are saying behind your back, the sweet things that people say behind your back. Now, I'm also aware, and I hope that you are, dear viewer, that what is considered kind to some people is not exactly kind. Sometimes it could be an insult to us, right? So please do take it in the spirit that it's given. So clip number 3, I want you to know also, I mean, this is obviously the Four of Pentacles traditionally. This is about keeping things to yourself. And so I feel like you're not all up in other people's business. Like, you can be. I feel like that business is brought to you. But also that business is very private, that you respect people's privacy, that you are understanding that when people bring something to you that's not meant to be shared. I feel like you do adhere to a higher purpose in life. If you look, what I perceive to be, it's almost like a full moon behind her. I feel like you're really in touch with your intuition as well. And I believe that people see that you are very graceful, very sensual actually, and very connected intuitively. It's almost like even with a gentle touch or gentle caress, okay, non-romantically even, that can really communicate so much. And I feel like you're somebody that can communicate with a lot of gestures and not necessarily even words, okay? I think people believe, and they talk about how beautiful your hands are, that you have piano playing hands sometimes. For those of you that have known you intimately, they could talk about how soft your touch is and how beautiful your touch is. And when they recount encounters with you, they tell others about their time with you. They could just say how you had healing hands, magical hands, how when you touched them and touched their body, it was like none other, okay? And if you've never experienced this, then I'm like, you need to get out there more. Just kidding. But what I'm saying is really that there's so many different nerves and sensors, and like everything is in the palm of your hand. And if you kind of give yourself like if you commission yourself to one day say, okay, I will experience nothing except for what's on the palm of my hands, like tactically, you can really tune in and experience so much more on a deeper level. I'm just saying, I know it's kind of a weird thing for those of you, the one weirdo with me that might try it. You'll know what I'm talking about. A lot of meridians that run through the body and things. You know, there is reflexology with the foot and things also to do with the hand that people really focus on. So maybe you're interested in ancient medicine, like Chinese medicine, meridians and things like that. But you have a very special intuition. Now, another thing that we talk about is how much that you've survived. I'm going to put this over here. I feel like you've really survived a lot of slander, and that has caused you to really go within. And people talk about this. People talk about, wow, you know, this pile number 3, they're really beautiful, graceful. They're kind of like quiet to themselves. And it's like, I don't see what other people have said that is nasty about them. I don't agree with them. I don't really understand why people would be this malicious to my pile number 3. And this could be friends, this could be families, this could be frenemies. But I feel like a lot of people have seen you kind of bob and weave through insults and situations that wanted to bring you down, that wanted to pull you down, that wanted to almost, I heard pulling off a mask. Now, I feel like it's not like a mask that you have. I feel like you've been just in self-protective mode, and you have had people that attack you. And I feel like people see this, okay? They understand this about you somehow intuitively, on an intuitive level, okay? And you could also be on social media and had fallouts with friends also, by the way. And I feel like people have seen how you have kind of bobbed and weaved and kind of not said anything about what other people are saying, that they've opened up their mouth and just really spewed a lot of negativity and poison about you. And if you have mutual friends and things like that. And I do feel like people view you as, wow, people are saying such nasty things, but look how composed you are, look how graceful you are, and how you're not retaliating. You have chosen to go within and create whatever blooms you can, with the ultimate of having this big rose on the top of your head. And you may not know exactly what painting you want your picture to be, what picture you want your painting to be, you know what I'm saying. But I feel like people understand that you are answering to higher authority than the worldly. And when people choose to slander you, when people talk crap, and when people talk shit, and when people try to make their case seem like they were in the right or whatever, and bring their case onto social media especially, or to people that you know, or to family, I feel like you've just withdrawn and you've taken your case to higher power and not even messed with it. Like, you know what, allow them to say whatever. People that know me. And so I feel like that's incredibly graceful, and that you've handled the situation in a graceful way. Even if people approach you and say, hey, do you know that so-and-so has talked this shit about you? They said this, and you handled it with grace, and you maybe simply said, you know, I understand that they're talking, and that's their prerogative. You know, whatever they say behind my back is not my business, and you have a great day. You know, something to that effect. So I don't think that you're paying any mind to it any longer. 9 of Emotions is 9 of Cups. People see you as really in search of and really indulging in what gives you joy and wisdom and happiness, and that intellectual fulfillment being brought into an emotional completion, okay? So I feel like you've come from a place of I heard tough growings, of having it really, really tough, and people have seen this, but you've really created an incredible land for yourself. It's almost like when you have to go and burn burns the land in order for it to replenish itself and to bring back the nutrients to life into the earth, and to be able to grow new vegetation that's even more thriving all over again. And they've seen you do that, okay? And you're in your element right now. You're definitely, okay, we talk about how you are the high priestess, okay? I'm not surprised. I feel like you've undergone so many different challenges, and you are definitely in touch with your higher power. Look at all these. I feel like you get messages left and right all the time. You're in touch with the moon's phases. The high priestess, I won't be shocked if the empress also comes out. I feel like you are traveling a road right now where you are really holding on to the phases in life. You understand that everything has a phase, including your spiritualness, your spirituality, okay? So sometimes you're doing super, super well, and then there are times where you reach a challenge or whatever the case may be in your life, and it's all part of the plan. So I feel like you're understanding that life is completely filled with different phases, just like the moon has lunar phases, happiness has different phases, and so on and so forth. And so I think that you once again are continually ascending, and people see that and talk about that. They talk about how the only thing perhaps that you're really interested in anymore in talking about is spirituality, is your connection with God, with source, with whomever, your higher self, with the divine. Okay. And I feel like also you might really enjoy a lot of jewelry like that's connected to Mother Earth, a lot of crystals, things like that. I feel like you have a deep connection, that your third eye is open right here, and that you are all about, again, communicating with a richness and with words that perhaps you've never used before. Communicate a lot of your personal truths, okay? Because this I'm seeing is like the blue chakra, your throat chakra. And I think that once that your third eye is activated, meaning that you can see beyond what regular people can see, which we all have that talent. It's just given the choice that we make. What we're talking about is now how you're speaking your truth, how you have been in the desert, because this to me looks and imitates like the desert being parched, only now it's with blue. Like the desert is flowing with water, meaning that once upon a time you had nothing to say, you kept everything, and you were perhaps really repressed. Maybe you had a spouse that you were repressed, or maybe circumstances were repressed, your childhood, whatever, and now you're totally speaking your truth, and we see that about you, and we love that about you. We notice how you have a lot of different colors, how you seem completely otherworldly, how people just like are really drawn and attracted to you, and they don't really understand quite why. But you have a depth that not a lot of people have experienced in this lifetime. Pile number 3. And when we speak about you, we know these things too. We definitely do. When we speak about you, any negativity, simply because of your behavior, anyone who speaks against you, we're like, stop, we're not listening to that shit, because we've seen this person's behavior. We understand a little bit more about this person's motivation, and in the end, even a child is known by their actions or their speech. And so I feel like you're really someone that, by pure example, and even by your silence right here, by the way that you've been so graceful in handling your life in general, that you are viewed as, when you do speak, people stop, first of all, and listen immediately. They know that you're not talking shit, that you're not trying to throw people under the bus, that you don't do things with a higher motive in mind. You're not of service of man. And when we speak about you, we tell people, you know, that pile number 3, that clip number 3, we know they are the high priestess. They're connected to divine, to source, to the other realms. I heard quantum jumping for some of you. And so when you speak, we definitely listen. You could have a really beautiful voice. People could listen to you just for the desire to listen to you. What else? What other sweet things are said about my pile number 3? Let's find out. The Page of Voices. So I would say this is still, has got to be one of my least favorite, because the Page of Swords is the traditional tarot, and that's all about my snooper, my person who doesn't have enough going on in their life, that they have to be busybody into everybody else's business. So especially, I feel like you may have quite a few people trying to snoop into your life, into your space. But pile number 3, we definitely want to observe you. We want to look at you. We want to see what makes you tick. I feel like this is even saying that this makes my head spin. Now, for some reason, the attraction, like sometimes people understand why they're attracted to you, and a lot of times people just don't understand why they're drawn to you. Whether I feel like it's more your vibe, your vibration, your mindset, the way you speak. It could be even your voice. And if you look, it's like this person has people dancing in her head. And I feel like that's you. Maybe even the different versions of you that have people spying, trying to see, are they reinventing themselves again? Like, what possibly can they get? Are they ever going to settle down and just be like one person? And I feel like, I guess people that are not used to watching others evolve are also intrigued with this idea and this notion. And they don't really know what to expect because you are a wild card. So I feel like you're really entertaining. And what we're saying here, right here is that some of us watch you because you're simply entertaining. Others of us watch you because we know where you came from and the hardships that you've endured. And still others watch you because we know that you're connected to Source, because you have a higher calling and you are pursuing that with everything that you have. Like, nothing else is important to you. And I feel like that's what others are saying. Others are my little spies, if you will. Okay. So I feel like also just the way that she's kind of fixing her glasses here, you give a different perspective to people. And I feel like when people say sweet things about you, one of the things that they say is, you know what, that pile number 3, I never thought about the way that they said this, but it really hit me. Like, it shook me. It made me stop and think. It made me stop and really reassess what I think about in my head, or it really made me stop and made my head spin. So that's another thing. It's like, it may not sound like a sweet thing, but the fact that you could have influence over other people and not even know it is actually really pretty cool. Especially Pile 3, considering what it is that you are all about. I don't feel like you're about the Jimmy Choo shoes and the Tom Ford glasses, which I love them both. Now, I would never wear Jimmy Choo shoes or anything because I'd break my neck. Okay, so the Queen of Voices. So you have here the Queen of Swords. Now, what I feel like this is saying is that also another thing that we speak about you is that through all these phases, we've seen you be different people. We've seen you, when all the bad stuff has happened to you, we've seen you be able to cut that out, cut it out of your life, and develop wings and even fly. We feel like when we talk about you that you're deeply divinely connected. If you look at that little pyramid above her head, that you could even have, oh my goodness, I saw these two. I think that they're called crackles. They're blackbirds. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're my favorite. I should know what they're called, but they're just incredibly beautiful. And I had one like land not even 3 feet in front of me on a pole and just like look at me with their intense yellow eyes. And yesterday, as I was coming out of a store, I saw one underneath my car, and it's almost like they're always pursuing me. But anyways, I feel like when we see you, we've seen different phases of you. And we've been able to see how you're quick to cut things off that are not healthy, that are toxic, to lift the veil, to lift the clouds. We also feel like you have a connection a little bit that some of us think, or some of us feel like it's a little bit dark. It's like, well, she's a little bit goth, or he's a little bit goth, or he's a little bit dark, but I really am attracted to their higher level, higher understanding, or wisdom, whatever the case may be. So we've seen you fly and be able to get out of situations, like, again, bobbing and weaving out of situations that really don't concern you and that you don't want to be involved with. And I do think that you do it with grace, okay? So I'm going to pull from this other deck right here. Why is there 4 of Pentacles here, please? About the sweet things that we say about you. What sweet things are said behind your back? Let's find out. 9 of Cups. Okay, so 9 of Cups twice in here. Your emotional fulfillment. You're actually even a wish fulfillment to people around you. And so this could be saying, you know what, people watch you and it's like, wow, I wish I had a person like that in my life. I wish I had, that was my sister, that was my mother. I wish that was my brother, my husband, my wife, my aunt, whatever. I feel like people would love you in their life. Like you would be a wish fulfillment. And look at this. I'm just shuffling and this one was already flipped. I didn't even have to flip that. Oh, sorry. And so 6 of Wands here. And if you're confused by my nails, so am I. It's all good. The 6 of Wands here. So I feel like, you know what, you are completely celebrated. People are like rooting for you, okay? I feel like this has a lot of 4 of Wands vibration. Okay, this is about the home, but I feel like this is about people cheering you on and saying, go further, go further. I feel like this is also a spiritual team that you may have that is on the other side as well. Okay, so I feel like you have a lot of people like cheering you on. Because of the lamp here, I heard the lamp of truth. I've never even heard it spoken that way. So I feel like you bring a light to a lot of people that they can really navigate and see their way around as well. And I feel like you kind of fight for the underdog in a lot of ways. And people say that about you. They're like, wow, did you see so-and-so stand up for so-and-so? And that was really cool. Like, how surprising. And how deeply compassionate that was, that, you know, that person did that for the other person or whatever. So I feel like you're incredibly like revered in your community, and I don't think that you really have a full understanding of that. What else do we need to know about our pile number 3? What sweet things do we say about thee? Let's find out. The 4 of Pentacles again. So 4 of Pentacles here. And I feel like, you know what, there could be a lot of toxicity around you, and yet you shield yourself. You kind of cover your own chest plate. The first, I have your throat chakra, your heart chakra, and your solar plexus all kind of like being hugged together. It's almost like I'm not going to speak my truth. I'm not giving my heart away, and I'm not going to show you what it is that I deeply want. So you can be a very private person. Again, I feel like there's a lot of privacy with you, and the way that these two are kind of shielding themselves. And we're curious about you. I feel like sometimes you could take that curiosity as sort of a threat, okay? So what last words do we want? Why is High Priestess here for pile number 3? What sweet things do we say about thee? Let's find out. The 9 of Swords. We see how you stress and how you struggle. And I feel like we have a lot of compassion for you. A lot of us do see that these monsters are in your own mind. Maybe they're monsters of old, things that have long passed, long gone. And we see that you are finally being called to speak your truth more. In the 3 of Inspiration. So you're being called to speak your truth more. And this could be about phobias and anxiety and things that have happened in the past. These are things that have really upset you. Mental health could be an issue with you. Or you could be an advocate for mental health. You could have family members that have mental health issues that really stress you out and kind of consume you as well. And I have right here that this just, I wasn't planning on pulling from this, but it flipped out, so I pulled it for you as well. I have the 3 of Inspiration here. This is traditionally 3 of Wands, and this is her looking to walk through the doorway, seeing the domino effect of everything. I feel like you understand how one thing can trigger another, and what we say about you is how patient you have been, how patient you are, to be able to see how one thing goes after another, and how that can help you walk through and work through portals and walk into other realms even. I feel like what we say about you is, wow, they're really patient with their timing, and we know that, you know, there's certain things that you want or whatever, and you are just really patient in trying to attain those things as well. So we see you carefully stacking the dominoes, working hard, working diligently, and yet being patient and saying, you know what, I answer to higher power. I'm just going to trust spirit. And regardless of what you guys say and think about me. And I feel like you have an idea that people say a lot of negative things against you, okay? And that may or may not be true or fact, but the fact of the matter is you have a ton of supporters, okay? A lot of people that are willing to kind of uphold you and celebrate you as well. So last messages for pile number 3. What sweet things do we say about thee? the devil. We see that you have overcome a lot, that a lot of times the devil is always trying to get in your life and just try to puppeteer you, commandeer you, maybe control you. And perhaps that's why you are really private and you seek to kind of do things your way. There's not a ton of trust here, I feel. There's a lot of like folding in within yourself. Like you don't want to let other people know about you or whatever. Now this goes back to your root chakra. This is what makes you feel unstable. Is when people try to come in and control, come in and obsess about you, or come in and tell you how to do things and how to, you know, the manipulators and orchestrators of your life. Yeah, definitely cause you to have tower moments. And again, this tower is upside down. How is it that this tower is? Well, you're constantly like slamming your head up against the pavement, trying to figure out how to get away from people that are always manipulating and controlling you. And I feel like what people say about you is that you're very compassionate and loving and you don't want to hurt people, even people that are trying to control you. But you're finding your own voice, your own truths. I heard the printed press. Now this reminds me of, do you remember those old school, okay, only older people can remember this, of old school tests that we would like fill in the bubbles or fill in the little squares. And I feel like this sheet is just a bunch of cycles of different tests that you've undergone over and over and over again. And I feel like you have reached kind of like the center of it, to where you're like, no matter what tests me, I don't have to be whipped around by this circular motion over and over again. I'm coming into myself. I'm self-sufficient. I'm confident. And I just bloom. Look at her 3 chakras that I talked about were blocked right here. Okay, so it's, well, not the throat chakra, but it's more like the solar plexus and the sacral and the heart chakra. And these are all blooming for you. So we talk about how abundant you are, how many right things you have versus how many wrong, and how you seem to have it all. We talk about how confident you appear to the rest of us, how free at times you can appear, and we want to see more of that. I even feel like people are bringing you roses or flowers. And I feel like because this is somehow a service that you do or provide to mankind, whether it's a gentle word, a gentle touch, an understanding ear to someone who's undergone a lot of hardship just like you have, and how you don't repeat things, and people really do appreciate that. Okay, so final message for my clip number 3. 6 of emotions, 6 of cups. So we notice how sometimes you look out in the distance and you are just kind of looking at the past, something that evokes a lot of emotion in you, something that causes you to kind of reminisce, to be a little bit nostalgic. And if you look at this little girl right here, she's just a little child playing on a suitcase, and like she's playing like she's a pilot, or that she's out in the stratosphere, or whatever the case may be. But we think that you think about when you were younger and you were carefree and everything else. But I think that that's kind of like an illusion. We think that, you know, I think there's a great mystery about what it is that you think about. And so when people look at your face and you could be lost in thought, people wonder what it is that she or he is thinking about. I mean, you look so beautiful and your eyes are so deep and you seem so lost in thought. What are you thinking about? And it's like, are they nostalgic ideas about when you were a child and you were carefree? Or what are they about a person? Like, we want to know. We want to know what you're thinking about. Okay, but we just know that it's filled with a lot of emotion. We understand that it has somehow to do with your past, but we're not really clear on that. Okay, what else do we need to know? Last thing for real this time about pile number 3. Let's find out. 10 of emotions, 10 of cups, okay? 10 of emotion. So this is all about emotional fulfillment, emotional gratification, about growing yourself into a position where even all these petals are blooming. it's almost reminiscent of all these flowers right here. And I feel like maybe you're taking a step by step on how things evolved for you and how you grew and bloomed. So this could be about you opening up about your journey, your life's journey, writing a book, writing a manuscript, I don't know, sharing your life somehow, some way with other people, those of us that are really curious about you. So that is what I have. If this resonated with you, please do give me a thumbs up, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And much love to you. Namaste.